Doug Ford, in his own words, it's all about showing people who the real Doug Ford is. It's backed up with a website that where people can go if they want to see the full context of the parts that are showcased in the ad.
Are you worried it shows desperation on your part that a month before the Ritz dropped, you're going all in?
Oh, we are going all in. I mean, this
but is it desperate?
No, it's not desperate. This is a campaign. Campaigns matter. And we think it's really important that when people make the choice, and it's going to be the starkest choice they've had to make provincially for a long time, that they have the full facts on who Doug Ford really is. And that's what this campaign is all about.
Deb, what makes you think people don't know the real Doug Ford?
Well, I mean, we've done research. We're knocking on doors. We're talking to people. And what I can tell you is that when people do see these ads, they are shocked. And their opinion of him, as they get to understand who he really is, their opinion shifts dramatically.
Now, the Mulroney and Elliott campaigns probably bungled by not going as hard on Mr. Ford. Is that what Premier Wynne is hoping not to do? And she doesn't want to make the same mistake that they did and pull punches? Is that what? I mean, this is fairly hard-hitting stuff.
I'm not going to comment on that campaign. That's an internal party campaign, and I think you do things differently when it's within your own party. But what I can tell you is we are really committed to making sure people have the information they need to make the right choice on election day. We've got a really positive plan. And Doug Ford, time and time again, has demonstrated, whether it's by lifting rent controls or rolling back minimum wage or building on the green belt, a range of positions he has taken. People need to know that.
Who are you saying the real Doug Ford is?
I'll let you judge by those.
Well, no. What are you saying? So, you're putting out the ads.
Yeah. So, I mean, he is very clearly someone who doesn't care about people with developmental disabilities, thinks that the market force can fix everything, including rent controls. He wants to lift rent controls. He wants to open cannabis sales. He wants the free market to reign, and he really sees a very limited role for government. We think that government has a role to support people who, with free tuition, for example, make sure everybody can get the education that they need to be successful in the economy. So we have a different view of the role of government, and Doug Ford has demonstrated time and time again that he is not somebody who gives a lot of thought to that.
Why start with an attack ad instead of focusing on the Premier?
Well, the Premier's out there all the time, and these are ads, and what we need to do is make sure people understand the choice that they would be making.
Do you not have confidence in your own record, that you can't run on your own record, so you have to attack Doug Ford?
We are absolutely running on our record. We're very proud of our record. We're proud of the progress that we've made on many different fronts. But this election is going to come down to a very stark choice. Is it going to be Premier Doug Ford, or is it going to be Premier Kathleen Wynne? And we want people to understand what the choice of Premier Doug Ford would really look like, what it would really mean to them, that he would roll back minimum wage, that he would lift rent controls so people's rent would skyrocket. He's taken a number of positions that I think if people knew about them, they would not support him.
Don't people have a choice to vote for Premier Andrea Horwath?
Yes, they do have that choice.
And so why do you feel the choice is simply Kathleen Wynne or Doug Ford?
Well, at this stage, that is very clear that that it's a two-way race. That the choice will be Doug Ford or Kathleen Wynne.
And can you speak to? So you say that one of the things you want to do is attack his policies, but if you don't know what his policies are, then what are you going to be attacking?
So when you go on the website, you will see many positions that he has taken, maybe unwittingly. But he has not come out with a platform. I hope he does come up with a platform that we can actually have a really good look at. But there are a lot of things we already know about Doug Ford. We know he wants to drastically reduce corporate taxes. He wants to roll back minimum wage increases. He's already out there with a lot of his policies.
What did you learn about the campaign against Donald Trump?
Well, I think as David Hurley said earlier, we need to focus on what difference will it make to your life if Doug Ford is elected leader. If you're earning minimum wage, it means you won't get the $15 minimum wage. If you live in an apartment, if you pay rent, it means your rent is going to be, there'll be no more rent control. Your rent will go up. So we need to really focus on what this means for real people.
Are you not putting
the Ontario politics, though, to start the campaign on on such a negative note, essentially?
Well, I think if you look at what Doug Ford has said, we didn't start this. As I've said, this is a stark choice. At this moment, he is winning, and we need to make sure people understand the consequences of
Are you
that.
not putting the premier in the ads because you know so many voters don't like her?
So the premier is out every day doing media availabilities, unlike Doug Ford, who doesn't do media avails, has no intention of doing media avails, who when he does do a quick media avail, he scampers away very quickly after a minute or two or three. The premier is very much available to the media all the time, and that's part of what we think our responsibility is. That's why we're having a media bus on the campaign. That's why she's doing debates that are televised or live streamed. So nobody could accuse Kathleen Wynne of hiding.
Now, the Tories say that you're campaigning on the or that the premier is campaigning on the taxpayers' dime. They calculate that it was something more than $180,000 last week just in costs because she's doing announcements in the post-budget period. What do you say to that?
Well, that is just hypocritical, if nothing else. We are government. We are out there. The premier's doing what she's always done. She will work as premier until the writ is dropped. And she's out talking about announcements. Today she opened a children's treatment center, Erin Oaks. Those are government announcements, and that's quite appropriate.
But
Why
she
do you
hasn't
think
had
you're-
an availability every single day for her entire premiership. That's only started after Doug Ford, and the accusation is that you're using government resources and taxpayers' money in order to campaign.
Well, as I said, we reject that completely. She is doing government announcements of government initiatives. That's quite appropriate, the premier be doing that.
Are you calling Doug Ford a coward?
I sure wouldn't call him brave.
Okay, last question.
Why do you think people don't understand the real Doug Ford? What evidence do you have that people don't know who Doug Ford is?
Well, so we've done research on this, and I've done lots of door knocking, and outside of the GTA particularly, but within the GTA as well. You know, we've done focus groups, we've done research, and people have an impression of him. And when they see the ads, and when they actually learn what he's actually said in his own words, their impression of him changes 180 degrees very, very quickly.
Okay, but
Thank
a
you
lot
very
of-
much,
I'm sorry,
guys.
just to follow up. A lot of people lied to pollsters in the United States. They said, we don't like Trump. If you ask them, nope, didn't like him, and he got elected. So are you concerned about that effect?
Well, research is never perfect, but what we do know is that these ads do work when people have made a preliminary decision of where they want to land on election day. Once they get this information, they often say they want to go back and check to make sure that we're not spinning it, which is why we've included all of the references to this on the website.
Thanks very much, guys.
Thank you.